Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Midweek Moment. I am Pastor Annette Jones, the interim pastor of South Suburban Missionary Baptist Church, a church where God is up to something. We are located in Harvey, Illinois. Listen, this month is March, and it is about women. March is South Suburban's Herstory month. It is where we recognize the contributions of women yesterday and today. On today, I want to just talk and share a little bit about Mary Jane McLeod Bethune. She was an American educator, stateswoman, philanthropist, humanitarian, womanist, and civil rights activist. Miss Bethune, she founded the National Council for Negro Women in 1935, and she also established the woman's flagship journal called Afro-American Woman's Journal. And she resided as president or leader for a myriad of African-American women's organizations, including the National Association for Colored Women and the National Youth Administration's Negro Division. For her lifetime of activism, she was deemed and acknowledged as the First Lady of Negro America by Ebony magazine. And she was also known by the Black press as the female Booker T. Washington. She was known as the First Lady of the Struggle because of her commitment to gain better lives for African Americans. So on today, I shared about Mary McLeod Bethune's work and all the things that she's done because I welcome to the platform Dr. Tamekia Scott. Hello. Hi, Dr. Scott. Glad to have you on.
Glad to be on. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
All right. Dr. Scott is the daughter-in-law of Deacon Denise Scott and Brother Melvin Scott. And she established a consulting firm called Edquity-Minded Consulting. So, Dr. Scott, as a woman in leadership, how did you start your business? What were some of your driving motivators?
Yes, again, so thank you so very much for this opportunity to share a little bit more about Equity-Minded Consulting. It's an honor and a privilege to be here to share with you also. Again, thank you for that. I will definitely say as I continue to progress in leadership roles in particular in higher education, it became more and more evident to me that the higher you go, the less likely you are to see for me to see myself. I experienced discrimination and aggressions, and some people refer to them as microaggressions. To me, aggressions are aggression, micro, they're aggressions. So throughout my career, and even as I completed my doctorate, where my research interest was looking at the lived experiences of African-American women who are in leadership in higher ed, I learned that I wasn't the only, which was a good thing, but also a moment of sadness to know that even in 2016, there was still some level of discrimination and racism and sexism that was happening in our institutions of higher ed. So for me, it was important for us to share our stories. So the power of sharing our stories became something that I hold true to, but then also not just to share the story, to dwell on what's wrong with our systems, but a call to action to fix what's wrong or to create something that's new. So late last year, I will say I believe I was in one of the roughest time periods in my career. And from that, I decided that I wanted to create Equity-Minded Consulting. It was my 2016 call to action being put into place in 2020.
I like that. I wish some of us could go back and look at what happened in 2016 and bring it into fruition in 2020, 2021 and start some things. But definitely, this is a powerful organization. Just the entire concept of it is one that we definitely need in this time because women are still involved and experiencing times of suffrage and times of inequities, especially in equal pay, even rights to vote, and all other kinds of systems that continue to keep us below and not above or where we desire to be. So definitely hear your passion in Equity-Minded Consulting. And I want to talk a little bit more about how did you determine what to name your business?
Yeah, so Equity-Minded was birthed out of my husband and my daughter, who we call a work of art. Her name is Sanaa, and talking about the importance of equity-mindedness. So equity-mindedness is a term that you'll hear in higher education, and it's referred to the experiences of students. And so my argument was that it's important not only for our students to have equitable space, but for our employees to experience that same level of equality, the same level of empowerment, and the same level of reflection, so that they too can also have an amazing work experience. And so that was sort of the cusp of it. And my daughter was like, well, Mom, since you do it in higher ed, why don't you add the ED at the beginning to Equity-Minded? And so that's how Equity-Minded really came to birth. The initial logo actually Sanaa created. And from that, we were able to revise it a little bit and come up with the 3 flowers that represent equity, represents education, and the other flower represents empowerment. And so that is how Equity-Minded came to be. Nothing really huge, just some really good conversation with 2 amazing people.
Wonderful. I like that. And definitely Sanaa. How old is Sanaa? How old was she at the time when you all were talking about this?
She was 12.
Just 12. Wow. And so her contribution became your passion and your vision for moving forward with this in 2020. Definitely, this is a great work, and one in which we want to continue to just kind of understand and try to see how does your business fit the need of consumers, or who really do you serve?
Yeah, so initially we started out, I started out focusing on higher education institutions, and quite early on also wanted to then focus on organizations, whether it be corporate or not-for-profit spaces. And so what Equity-Minded really does is helps organizations live out diversity, equity, and inclusion in all aspects of what they do. We work with individuals who desire a psychological safe space to become the best version of themselves. I have always said throughout my career when I'm talking to individuals that I don't have a heaven or a hell to put you in, so I have no judgment. And that is a true statement, and that's something that Equity-Minded really stands by. We also work with the institutions, whether that be for corporate, not-for-profit, whether it be higher education institutions, but creating that space so that they can have those much needed hard conversations to talk about what they need to do to move forward in an equitable manner. So we have some one-on-one coaching that we do. We do training and development for individuals and or organizations. And then we also have some intentional organization-specific consulting work that we do as it relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and also Title IX.
Oh, wonderful. Well, all of that just really opens up this whole world of definitely having safe space to come in and share. How do we get beyond this? How do we move ahead? So how has your faith shaped your entrepreneur journey?
Yes, I would say that my faith has been truly my foundation. In the good and the bad times, my faith is what has sustained me. It's carried me, it's provided me with the confidence to not run from, but to run into what I believe God has called me to do. It has allowed me to be brave in spaces where that I have questions about my own confidence level, but I know who I'm confident in. And so that has been my faith, that has been my foundation, and why I'm able to do what I believe is this work.
Wonderful. So I really like that. And it reminds me of Jesus, who didn't run away from trouble or those that hated him or tried to persecute him. He went into. He went into Jerusalem, even though he knew that his time was near and that they were going to crucify him, or he was going to have to carry our burdens. And so he went into. And so I like that you didn't run away from, but you went into knowing what you were going to be up against, but also recognizing that there's still a need. So wonderful, wonderful journey. It sounds, in terms of your faith shaping that entrepreneur journey. So what's your next? Is there a project or an initiative that you are working on to expand your mission or your business?
Yeah, so I would say my next is happening. I mean, God has been amazing, and so right now I'm currently working with the University of Illinois in Springfield, as well as with the state of Ohio's Department of Higher Ed, to do this work. And so I'm really excited and humbled by that opportunity. But as a result, I've been blessed with more opportunities that have resulted in me adding to the Equity-Minded team. And so I've created some new positions, some new consultants within this role. And so I'm just so thankful for those wins, but I'm also thankful for the opportunity to share the ability to win with others. I do believe that is also part of what I am here to do, is not just to hold it all in or to just keep it all to myself, but to provide opportunities for others to see the impact that a win can have.
Wonderful. Well, it sounds like you are hiring and getting other people to come on board, and I'm available. So when I'm ready to retire, I think I can come and call on you and see
Yes, you
if
can.
there's an opening. To see
Absolutely. We'll save you a spot.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how can we get in contact with you, or what is the best way to contact you about your business?
The best way to contact me would be directly through my website, which is www.EdquityMindedConsulting.com. There's opportunities on there to learn a little bit more about what we do, as well as the foundation and just sort of the why behind the work that we do, but then also ways to connect to schedule, whether it be one-on-one consulting opportunities or some coaching.
Oh, wonderful. So we have all that we need. We know a lot about Equity-Minded Consulting now. Thank you for sharing all of this information with us on today, Dr. Tamekia. It has been a pleasure.
It's a pleasure to always be in contact with South Suburban. Again, thank you all so very much for thinking of me.
No problem. And we love you. And we are going to be continuing to support your efforts in this as you go forward. And we wish you all the best as your hands prosper in every work that you do.
Thank you very much.